Welcome back again to another edition of News, Facts, and Comments Sunday Rap Session. I am Achoti Tamar, and thank you for tuning in to those that's watching now and those that will tune in later. So glad you can join us. Today we're going to talk about chemtrails, the hidden American agenda, or are those just contrails that you're seeing? As you can see in that opening video, President Biden is considering, said that spraying the sky to hide the sun, to reflect the sun's rays, to challenge um, the effect of global warming is on the table. But we have evidence that may suggest that the United States government, through some affiliated corporations, have already been doing just that because they're doing research. Imagine having to do research in order to come up with a concrete plan. And if you're researching how to stop the sun rays from coming into the Earth's atmosphere, then you have lots of atmosphere to test in. So, in a moment, we're going to be joined by my guest, Michaela, and she and I both had the same questions: why they're hiding the sun. And so after researching, and my guest Michaela, she's done extensive research on it, and I was so glad to finally meet someone who had been paying attention to the clouds. If you can think back to when you were younger, um, I'm 50 years old, and so I'm speaking to those who were maybe who were born in the 70s, maybe the early 80s, right? So you can remember when you looked up in the sky and you can see the clouds were making different formations, right? And they were nice and fluffy, and they some of them looked like dinosaurs, and some of them looked like a bear. You were able to look all up and say, okay, this looks like this and this looks like that. But nowadays, I don't know what those clouds are. Now, my guest that's going to be joining me here in just a minute, um, she's one of those people who knows the names of clouds. And so I've noticed here lately that meteorologists are now naming these new clouds. So we have names for new clouds, but are they really clouds that are those that were created in the beginning of time, or are these man-made clouds? So today we're going to show you videos, and we're going to go through articles that's going to prove just that this is happening in real time, even though the government is not admitting to doing it themselves. Corporations are doing it and giving this information to the government, so by proxy the government is allowing it, right? So let's go ahead and move into this video while we wait for our guest to come in. Pay close attention to what is said in this video.
In the past 25 years, the global average temperature has risen by around 0.5 degrees Celsius.
The accumulation of carbon in the atmosphere is warming the Earth up, making more intense hurricanes, rains, higher temperatures.
So far, governments have focused on policies for cutting emissions, but they keep rising. The concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has risen 15% since 1994. The Paris Agreement, signed by 175 parties in 2016, was a sign that countries were willing to work together to cut emissions. But not every world leader is on board.
The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States.
If emissions aren't reduced, what next?
Theoretically, solar geoengineering could cool the entire planet. It's actually potentially incredibly simple because all you need to do is inject a bunch of particles into the stratosphere, and there's a number of ways you could do that. Recently, a study out of Yale and Harvard looked at the details of how this would be done.
In that Harvard and Yale study, they imagined building a fleet of planes, up to 95 of them, that would make 60,000 flights a year. The fleet would spread hundreds of thousands of tons of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere every year. After 15 years, they reckon the world would cool by 0.3 degrees Celsius. But there are reasons not to do this. One of the biggest concerns is that it could make governments complacent.
The big worry is that it will be exploited to argue against emissions cuts. Geoengineering is a supplement to cutting emissions, not a substitute for cutting emissions.
It would also be politically messy. If the plan is to put a thermostat on the Earth, deciding who has their hand on the dial won't be easy.
For it to have a global effect, you're going to need all governments on board, and that is going to be extremely difficult. If a country went alone and decided to do it on its own, then obviously, because the impacts are going to be regional or global, you could create a lot of international tension.
A Swiss proposal to study geoengineering and how it should be regulated was recently put forward at the UN Environment Assembly. But America and Saudi Arabia opposed the motion, possibly because they don't want international regulation of geoengineering. As things stand, not enough is known about how it could impact the climate or the chemistry of the atmosphere. There could be unexpected consequences.
You can affect rain patterns, and you might cause a region that is already suffering from drought to have even less water. A lot more basic research, both into how we would do it, but also what the consequences of it would be if we did it in one way or in another way, is needed.
But of course, if we don't do it, there's deep uncertainty about how much climate change we get for a given amount of CO2 in the air. Both of those are risky, both are uncertain. The question is, which has higher risk?
The politics of solar geoengineering are so complex that it might never happen. That said, as the world continues to warm, the case for exploring radical measures grows stronger.
So as you see on that report, you can see around the world, they're trying to make this great big push for getting ahead of climate change, trying to stop the sun's rays from penetrating the earth, causing everything to warm up. My next guest, she's going to come in to help me go through all of this information regarding chemtrails and contrails. There are some that are saying that chemtrails is a conspiracy theory and they're not spraying anything. But as in the previous videos, you just said that seeing that is a real thing and that can happen. And we believe that is already happening. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring in my next guest. We have Miss Michaela. Sister Michaela is joining us tonight. Welcome to News, Facts, and Comments Sunday Wrap Session Special Report. Sister, how are you doing? Let everyone know how you're doing, who you are, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah. Thank you. First off, blessings to you, Sister Achoti. Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here and talk about this topic. My name is Michaela Dawson. I am a resident here in Northern California. I'm here in Sacramento. And, I am, it's like an existential question, like, who am I? What am I doing? Really, I'm just simply a melanated individual that is concerned, and I see all of the things and the changes that are going on in this world. The videos that you just showed are that's educating to me, and I'm glad to see that too, because it just really rolls into the discussion that this is already happening. This is going on. So for me, the reason why I wanted to be here and speak to you guys is because I have experienced some health challenges within the last few years, from I think from 2022 all the way up until maybe now, because I'm still healing from those things. And those unexplained illnesses and some of the things that I was going through kind of coincide with how I've seen the weather change, the changes in the sky, the things that have been happening. And it really goes into some of the missed diagnoses that happened with me and some of the illnesses that I've really experienced. So I really wanted to be able to share those things. Once I started to do my own research, I was really led to other things. I found other information that led me to just kind of look at some of these organizations and some of these things that are going on that really, like I said, are already happening, like right in our skies. So I wanted to be able to just kind of share those things and discuss those topics, and I'm grateful to be here with you guys and talk about it. Yeah.
Great. So let's talk about the political climate in California, because you shared some pictures with me, and it's definitely more than just condensation trails, right? And so I want to know what the political climate is like, because there's some on the right that are saying absolutely not, and then some on the left that are supporting Joe Biden in his push to basically block the sun.
Yeah. So, I'm here in Northern California. It's funny because I have seen a lot of pushback just from residents or citizens from, in Northern California. There's a lot of agriculture here, people that are in areas like in like up in the Shasta area, what I mean, where we have the Lake Shasta and stuff, and some of these places like Tahoe and things like that. There are definitely residents here that are concerned citizens, and a lot of the stuff, actually, that's what led me to do more research. That's kind of what I was led to. Like, I think there's an organization called Stop Spraying California.org. That was a place where I saw some of the footage of some of the folks in Shasta County, which is, I think, a good like maybe 7 hours or so up north from Sacramento, where they've gone in and talked to their lawmakers. They've had town halls about it, talking about, we see you guys spraying the skies. This has a huge, you guys don't know what you're doing. This has a huge impact on our environment, on our systems. Some of the research that I saw was a gentleman that he did extensive research over his and tracked his symptoms, basically starting from when he had his lead or his silver fillings taken out of his mouth, and then kind of being able to link the mercury poisoning that he experienced from that to moving to certain areas around the country and realizing that they were spraying, and how that was basically affecting him, because it's because he's realizing that they're basically spraying metals into the air, So I just ran into a lot of research from a lot of people that are actually residents, people that, what I'm trying to say is it's people that are actually, concerned residents just like us, that really educated me about this. These are people that are living, looking up into the skies and seeing that. And that's what promoted me to do my own research. But I would say specifically in NorCal, people are aware of it, and they have taken steps to, talk to and have meetings and stuff about that with lawmakers. This has been going on for some time here, though, so I don't know if it's made a dent. For me, I really feel like it's something that they are pushing to do just anyway. You know what I mean? And it's a part of, just their greater agenda of just, controlling the population,
So tell us a little bit more about your symptoms. You mentioned that you had a series of health issues. Tell us a little bit more about your symptoms and when you first noticed it, and how you connected it to maybe possibly these chemtrails or whatever that is that they're spraying in the sky.
or whatever is going on. Yeah. So basically, The symptoms that I really had were so about in 2022 or so. There, first of all, there seemed to be like a real change in the air here. So in Sacramento, it does get pretty warm. We have like pretty dry, fairly cold winters, but they're for the most part pretty mild. And then we have dry heat in the summers. So about 2022, it seemed like we had like a really cold winter. And about that time, I got really sick. So I could see I got really pale for one thing, like just kind of ashy pale, like a lost like color, in an odd way. Like I looked really like sick, had really dark circles under my eyes. I started to lose my hair very badly, and all over, like very badly on my head. Lots of patches of hair loss. I'm very, very thin. I'm still growing my edges back from that. Very, very weak, a lot of muscle aches, like unexplained fibromyalgia. And for that whole year, what I can say is I was like, like I couldn't really understand it. I tried to stay active, I was trying to change my diet. I'm like, hey, maybe I'm just, maybe I'm eating too much junk food. I'm getting older, those kind of things. But I mean, it was to the point of Cody where I couldn't do a push-up sometimes, where I tried to do yoga and things like that. Like my body was just, it felt like I was just really deteriorating. And like I said, I'm aging, and there's all of these things, stress and things like that. But it was in a way that really felt like I was like falling apart, So about 2022 going into 2023, like I said, I experienced severe hair loss, and that's what led me to go to the doctor. They troubled, they took my blood panel. I was deficient on certain vitamins and things like that. They, instructed me to take certain vitamins, take minoxidil for my hair and certain things and whatnot. But, none of that really seemed to like help, or really seemed to be, like there was no real concern about it, and no real way for me to really diagnose where exactly it was coming from. So I kind of fast forward. I've been dealing with that probably for about a year or so. So I'll skip forward to about like 2023, the end of 2023, like in December. So I'm working a different job at that point. Because I transitioned jobs while I was really ill. And about that time, I'm still experiencing the same symptoms. My hair started to grow back, but then it started to kind of go back the other way. So, basically what happened was I ended up with a herniated disc and basically spinal stenosis in my back. So I basically ended up very sick. I was in the house. I was debilitated. I couldn't walk, I think, from December on to like the middle of January. I was immobile, and I don't have a lot of people, so I just spent a lot of time in the house. I was getting groceries delivered, all kinds of stuff. So anyways, to really like sum it up, I started to get really healthy. I changed my diet, you know what I mean? I got really serious about things because I've never been, that crippled in my life. But during that time, I got really healthy. I started to see my hair grow back, like all kinds of stuff. And I was really like, okay, well, I've changed my diet and I've done these things and stuff like that, but what is the real culprit? So what I really did learn once I started like kind of going back outside is I started to get like this taste of metal in my mouth, like just really dry, like cotton mouth almost. And one thing is like I started wrapping my hair up a lot, because I realized that whatever's going on in the air, it affects my hair, and it's draining. And there's something that's going on that is just kind of happening to me out there that, when I come back in, I feel sick, I feel achy, and those kind of things. And those kind of symptoms started to kind of happen to me like instantaneously as I would go outside. So what I attributed that to is I spent a lot of time inside. I spent a lot of time not commuting, going to a job, not being in the air. Where I am right now, and what I've tracked, as far as like being in the greater Sacramento area and being in Elk Grove where I am, they're doing a lot of spraying where I'm at. So there were a lot of like unexplained symptoms that I had that have really diminished since I've spent a lot of time in the house. I'm a lot healthier. My color returned. The dark circles under my eyes finally went away. The aching and the pains kind of diminished, and also like the severe depression and anxiety that I was experiencing during that time also like went away. You know what I mean? I was able to kind of feel being back to myself. And then the other thing of Cody was like this sincere like brain fog, this inability to really like focus, concentrate, being really stuck like that. I felt like there were some days where I felt like I was in a stupor. And I say like, I went through that for like a whole like year straight. You know, like I said, it didn't really get better until I started spending more time in the house and I just physically wasn't going outside. And that's about the time where I really started to, you know, look up and see like, what is really going on? You know, I've seen these planes, I've seen them up there, I've been complacent like everybody else, but what is going on in the skies is, you know, if you really look up and you really pay attention, it's crazy, you know. And I don't know what everybody is seeing everywhere. I can't account for everybody's experiences, but my research has led me to the realization that a lot of people do see this. A lot of people are tracking this. A lot of people are getting shot down and still silenced. They still are doing a lot of gaslighting about trying to, you know, keep this under wraps. But I mean, it's so aggressive at this point that you can't help but talk about it. And a lot of people are tracking the illnesses and the unexplained symptoms that they've had, you know. I honestly really was tracking my own symptoms and realized that a lot of other people in my research are going through the same things. And that's why I felt like it was important to talk about, because there's so many things that are happening. People are getting sick, getting cancers, unexplained illnesses, new illnesses. And a lot of this may be attributed to our air. So, and what's going on in the sky. So I just really, that is really it in a nutshell. It's been pretty surreal. Yeah.
So, sister, you said a lot, and you know there are two sides to every coin, right? And right now, you would be considered a conspiracy theorist based on you know, you said you have these elements and you're directly contributing it to these chemtrails, or what we're saying, identifying as chemtrails, right? Because you've seen them in the sky. They're not like the regular condensation trails, right? That disappeared after a while. These are staying in the sky and they're forming into what some would think would be a cloud. Am I correct? I want you to listen to this. Now, you know, in this day and age of a lot of misinformation going around, right? And they're always talking about fact check, right? So there is this thing called verify, right? I want you to take a listen to what they say about chemtrails and verify, and then I'll comment on it when we come back on the other side.
Yeah.
It's almost like a religion of thought.
Leave shadows on the clouds.
Look to the heavens, lines in the sky that captivate conspiracy theorists. Chemtrails, followers convinced something evil and secret is going on.
See, and look it. It's got that pattern.
They believe the government or some shadow organization deliberately sprays chemicals to control our minds or to alter the weather.
Okay, I can hear you now. Why are we wasting time on this? Social media has become fertilizer for this conspiracy. Recent surveys indicate 1 in 5 Americans believe in this theory. Now, science is just starting to confront it. So, what are the facts? Let's verify with our experts.
Dr. Jeffrey Forrest, Chair of Aviation and Aerospace Science at Metro State in Denver. Dr. Ken Caldera, atmospheric scientist and professor at Stanford. These are not government agents. They are scientists. That's verified. But first, Chris Zadnick of Denver. He's a believer.
So I could see a line in the sky.
Yes,
right
2 of them.
right
yes.
now. So what do you think is going on up there right now?
They do tend to put them in front of the sun, which makes sense if they're trying to block sunlight.
What would you say is your strongest piece of evidence proving that chemtrails are real?
I think, I honestly, it might seem a little bit crazy that I literally have almost 400 videos.
1, 2, 3. X means death.
What do you think is going on up there?
Well, what they say is that this is sort of a desperate measure to counteract global warming.
Zadnick is quick to say he doesn't trust the government. Can you blame the guy? After all, our government doesn't really have the greatest track record when it comes to telling the truth. Agent Orange, the Tuskegee syphilis study, the human plutonium injection experiments. I can go on and on. That's the government. But what about Science. Way back, this is a tight fit.
Okay, pilots and scientists are uncomfortable talking about chemtrails.
What is that white line in the sky behind a plane?
Well, the white line behind a jet is a natural process that goes on with the relationship between the aerodynamics of the aircraft and the atmosphere.
They won't even say that word. Scientifically, they're called condensation trails. Contrails for short.
So what you're really doing is you're sort of artificially generating a cloud.
It's like a long white cloud. That's essentially what it is.
That's right.
As jet fuel burns, it produces mostly water vapor. Picture my mouth like a jet engine. I know that sounds weird, but as I exhale, my breath contains a lot of water, so we'll see something like a cloud. Sounds simple, right? Let's get scientific.
Jet fuel is mostly kerosene, a hydrocarbon. When planes burn jet fuel, they produce exhaust. That exhaust is mostly hot water vapor. That also contains carbon dioxide, trace amounts of sulfur, nitrogen, microscopic metal particles, and carbon. The water vapor molecules latch onto the particles like carbon, allowing the water in its gas form to collect into floating bits of liquid, or, because it's so cold, tiny ice crystals. That's condensation, when water vapor becomes a liquid or ice. And so you get a cloud, especially when the humidity and air temperature are just right. The higher level of humidity in the sky, the longer the water remains condensed. When humidity is really high, the trails look like a long cloud, which is why contrails appear in the sky for a while. Winds can make them expand.
That is also, I think, part of the fear factor that some people hook themselves into, because they see a contrail being formed and then hours later it's still there, and sometimes it's growing.
So what we see up there is not the government intentionally putting chemicals into the sky for geoengineering.
No.
I don't know why people, they have a scientific or technical question, and instead of going to the scientists, they'll find some crazy website and believe what the crazy website says.
Perhaps the most convincing and highly cited scientific evidence comes to us from this study conducted by atmospheric scientist Dr. Caldera. Out of 77 top atmospheric scientists across the globe, 98.7% of them categorically rejected the existence of a secret spraying program. That one holdout was a guy in Alaska.
He didn't think, oh, that means there must be a secret government spraying program. He's saying, oh, look, once I got a sample and there was stuff in it that I couldn't explain.
There's no accepted scientific evidence whatsoever that proves a covert program is real.
I really desperately want it to not be true.
Based on our highly credible experts and scientific approach to chemtrails, we can verify the chemtrail conspiracy is false.
Okay, sister. So, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, that you're going to do your research. They have to research this in order to know if it's going to work. So the government can't do it because of the Paris Agreement that they made regarding climate change and all of that. You have to be a collective of the nation states. They can't one country do it on their own. However, they can allow scientists to do research, right? They can allow organizations, corporations to do research. So, no, the government is not doing it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Am I right, I say?
You are right about that. Don't believe your lying eyes is what I'm hearing with all of the gaslighting and everything. I mean, at this point, for me, like I trust nothing the government says. I mean, we're obviously, everything's about what they want to do and what they need to do. But I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, they literally piss on you and tell you it's raining. I mean, they literally show you footage of what they're doing in the skies. I mean, if you're looking at that, even as the guy's like telling you that in your ear, does that look normal? Does that look, those contrails like that, the quote unquote contrails, does that look normal? Like, that's not any, like, even when I did see the planes in the sky, like at minimal, that is nothing next to normal what's going in the sky, and they're literally showing you all of that and being like, oh, it's normal, you guys are ridiculous, this is science, no, like that's, and to me, like, it's so insulting, you know what I mean? Because I mean, beyond, I'm middle-aged, but we got children breathing this mess in. You know what I mean? We got babies breathing this mess in. You know what I mean? This is some cold-hearted mess, and for me, it's infuriating because there's more than enough people that are highly concerned about this and have been talking about this years before I even came along. You know what I mean? So yes, that is the general consensus, though. And in fact, I think I even came across a couple of things that said they are looking to possibly criminalize discussing the possibility even of chemtrails even happening, because that's where we're headed with these folks. That's where the government's going. That's why it's important that we do our own research and that we use our own eyes, our own ears, and we don't let them spoon feed us information.
Right.
I got really sick. They're not going to tell you that, and no doctor is going to tell you that, because it's all a part of a narrative, I really believe. And at this point, it's really insulting because they're doing it very aggressively. And there's a lot of people that have put that stuff. I mean, there's TikTok videos about this stuff. So, and another thing too is the eclipse. People felt like there was a lot of strangeness around the eclipse, and, the discussion of all of these doomsday prophecies coming around the eclipse and stuff, because probably they didn't want people looking in the skies.
Well, they were heavily sprayed prior to the eclipse, so you could barely see it. And you mentioned, we just talked earlier, you should go ahead and share your screen, and let's get into that since you brought that up. You know what I mean? Let's just have this free-flowing conversation about it. Go ahead and let's get into the eclipse and what you documented and what others documented.
Yeah. Here, let me start with this. Let me just start with my pictures real quick. Bear with me here. I'm gonna kind of minimize my screen so I can kind of get everything. Bear with me because I'm on my little laptop.
Okay,
here.
go ahead.
So okay, all right. So I got this, and let's see here. I want to look at my share screen part. Right. And I just want to go ahead. I'm just going to share my entire screen with you here, Cody. Share. All right. And I kind of got two screens going here. So can you see that, Cody?
Yes, got you.
Okay. So I'll start. I just wanted to make sure you can see that. Let me start and I'm going to go back to my little pictures real quick. So listen, this is going on in March right here. If you can see this, and I have more. You guys forgive me because I have a lot of them on my phone as well and stuff. So I'm trying to transfer things to my phone. So this is just a few of the ones that I have. I did send them to you, Sister Achoti. I hope you can see them too. But this is just me just in the parking lot after running to Walmart and everything. And I look up in the sky, and this is what I'm seeing. And you basically see all of these clouds that have kind of crossed over right here. Now this time lapse right here, this is on the 6th and whatnot. At the time that I took this, you can see like this streak that's up there by the sun. They were behind those clouds that have already formed and taken out the sun, and they were behind there spraying still. And I was just up there, I was just passing by. And so I was just trying to really capture that so I could really capture how abnormal this looks. And it almost looks like a zipper, like they've zipped up the sun behind it. So there's that one. Let's see here. Bear with me here. This one right here.
Wait, sister, go back.
This one right here.
I'm sorry, sister, before you go back to that other picture right quick. I want to ask y'all something.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. Let me see. Oops. Hold on, Achoti. I might have. Hold on one sec. I might have X'd out of it. Technical difficulties. I'm sorry. Let me see. Did I put it in my downloads? Let's see. It might have been one of my. Hold on one sec here. I think I kicked myself out of it, Achoti. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I might have.
I'll
Yeah.
and I'll bring you to this. Go ahead.
Let's see. If I can find it again, I will come back to it. But I think what I had it up on my slideshow, and I kind of got away from that. I'm sorry about that. This one right here was just me tracking so these clouds, the clouds literally move towards the sun. It's crazy. And when they do get towards the sun, this is what they do, is they make this like gas in front of it, and it just kind of blots it out. So that was, this picture right here was me trying to show that. This one right here, this one is one that I took like just right before the eclipse. This is on the 6th of April. So on the 6th of April, you can see, can you see that, Achoti?
Yes.
Okay. So on the 6th of April, you can see this one. So I just went to go do laundry that day. And when I was driving home, I could see at first, when I first started, there was nothing in the sky. So I drove all the way to do my laundry and I came back. There were clouds on the horizon. These clouds started to really just move towards the sun. It was creepy. It's like they were walking to them. There's like 5G towers in the radius. This is like maybe a 5-10 mile radius between me coming home. So it almost, what people are saying, I know they're going to say it's a conspiracy theory, all that stuff, but what people are saying is that they're noticing that these clouds are reacting to the frequencies, and they believe it is from like the 5G towers. But it's really odd to watch. I literally sat here, this is me in my apartment complex, and took pictures of this, and these clouds just move in and just cover the sun. This is on April 6th, like 2 days before. And then up there in the top part, you can see that little streak up there, and that's them spraying. That's them still spraying in the skies while these clouds are like moonwalking towards the sun. It's crazy. So so that's what I'm seeing. I do have more pictures, but like I said, I'm just trying to struggle through this. I'm sorry. I wish I could be a little more fluid for you. And sorry that
you're good.
So yes.
Is there other, go ahead and share with us the pictures that you had of the other individuals that were taking video of the eclipse event and what they were saying in that regard.
Yeah, so this is okay. So this, like, I really am so glad to see this, because this is one of the gentlemen that's really been like doing a lot of the he's all blacklisted as a total conspiracy theorist. But I mean, when you look at the information, there's so many people. So this is his thing. He was talking about the eclipse and the chemtrails and stuff and everything that they're trying to hide. So you can see this video right here. I really want to show you guys this. This is from the solar eclipse in Michigan.
Wow, you see the trails there.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, that's pretty loud. Sorry. Yeah, so there's that. Okay, this one right here was the eclipse, and this one was from, I guess, someone that did this on April 8th during the eclipse, and during the eclipse. So there's them again. And again, these all look very similar to my pictures. You know what I mean? To the pictures that I've taken, the clouds, a bunch of streaks in the back. This looks terrible.
Hold it right
Yes.
there, sister. Go back
Yes.
to that picture, because
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
something that I've seen in your first picture that you couldn't pull up. Okay.
Yes.
So if you're looking at your screen, to the left, there's a straight line, a vertical line going straight up.
Yeah.
Since when do clouds form that way?
Right. That part. Exactly. Where is this? Because since when do they just attack the sun and just turn into gas, gas clouds? You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
so
yes, go ahead.
so this is leading up to something very, very interesting because I think in that last video they mentioned like a long time ago they were considering it. And well, I just happened to find a video from 1995.
Right.
Okay. So this has been a long time in the works, in the making. So do you have any more from the eclipse, sister?
Yes, this dude, this all is just from his thing. Like, let me just say, you guys, you let me know when you want to stop. I want to show you this one because this is from TikTok. So if people on TikTok are noticing that, we ain't the only ones, Sister Achoti. Look at this.
Where's your? I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear anything?
Is there supposed to be volume to? I mean, audio to it?
Oh, you can't hear it?
No, ma'am. But don't worry, we see it for sure.
Okay, if you can't hear, I apologize. And could you hear the volume from the last one?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well then I'll just let you guys see it. So yeah, the girl she's just basically talking about like she's like, we can't have anything nice, but here's what we're seeing. So I'm sorry, I apologize that you guys can't hear it, but let me just show these to you. Yeah. So and then I can kind of narrate as I'm going. See, she's talking about how they can start spraying.
And she had the time lapse on there too, sister. Did you see that?
Yes, that's exactly it. She did better than I did. Shoot.
Yeah.
He's talking about them. Yeah. So and then here, let me go down to this one since you guys can't hear this one. I'll just kind of flow through. They're just, just showing you can see how the people are showing the eclipse and they're seeing the clouded skies and everything. And let me just kind of move through a couple of them, Achoti. You see that this one's a picture right here. So you can see like it's a mess. Like you see that one. And this is all, these are people that have all done this on April 8th. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No. I was just saying, yes, indeed. This is exactly what we're seeing. And so that's that's Arkansas. Right?
This is Jonesboro, Arkansas. Yes. And you can see kind of I'm sorry you guys can't hear, but the place with the best predicted visibility of the solar eclipse in the country and the sky is effing covered in chemtrails this morning. Yes. Okay. Listen, I think this says something about Tulsa. I don't see where exactly he's at, but I think he's in Tulsa. He says, chemtrails over solar eclipse totality path across the USA at 8:50 a.m. where millions gathered, and look at this mess. He said, look at all that. Yep. Yeah. So.
So then the question would be, sister.
Yes.
Why didn't they want us to see the solar eclipse?
Man, I'm trying to find that out myself. Like, I mean, you can't make sense of evil. I don't know. I don't know if it was because they didn't want people to, I don't know. I don't know. They don't even want to tell the truth about this. So I really, really don't know why, what I don't understand. But sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, we can all see it. A lot of people, see this mess, and it's just like it's really upsetting that they keep trying to put out these videos and call people conspiracy theorists when it's harming our planet. You know what I mean? Badly, it's harming us. So yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit and come back to the family here.
Yes.
Tell us what you know about HAARP.
So from what I understand about HARP is HARP has a lot to do with like the 5G, with like the 5G towers and everything. But from what I understand, it's the acronym is, do you have the acronym, Achoti? Like what it actually stands for? I'm trying to think of it, but I can't. It's like something.
It's high frequency active aurora research.
Yes.
program.
Yes. So that is, and I think that has a lot to do with all the weirdness we're seeing with like the clouds, like being able to move and turn, like the craziness with them, forming over the sun, because we know like frequencies are a real thing. And, they've used frequencies as a bioweapon before to make people sick. What I really think that we've got going on is a lot of people are, it's really like, they're using the 5G towers and a lot of the frequencies off of that to really, kind of manipulate the weather. From what I understand, it started as they had some kind of weather system before that that they started, I guess, back in the good old days, probably when they started this, but it's now transitioned into into this 5G thing. I think that really had a lot to do with, honestly, with what was going on in with the pandemic. We needed to be inside so they could set up all these towers, but that's what it really seems like. The only thing that I can say that they're probably, using to really manipulate it are these 5G towers, because they're everywhere now. You know what I mean? Especially in the span or the radius of where I live versus, when I was watching those clouds, but also people have also tracked that too. I've seen evidence of that. The same guy that I was showing that article on, he was able to take pictures of seeing what is going on and how the frequencies kind of move the clouds and everything. So, but from what I understand, that is what HARP was designed to do. It's some kind of weather manipulation system. And from what I can understand, they're using it. So.
Yes, and they are. So with that being said, we're going to tie HARP to chemtrails to the Agenda 2030 climate control, whatever, what are they calling it?
Geoengineering, what is it? The other thing is
the UN thing. Hold up, let's not speculate. Let's go ahead and get it. I have it pulled up here. The mandate from the UN. Agenda, where is it? Oh my goodness. General Assembly, Sustainable Development. So we're going to show you how, follow me, sister, but we're going to start with HARP. This is going to be good. I hope y'all buckle up. That's what
I'm ready.
Buckle up, because this is going to be interesting.
Have communications, surveillance, navigation systems whose paths either traverse the ionosphere or reflect from it. And so we need to be very careful about what we know about it and how we study it. What we're interested in is what is the effect of a large input of energy on the ionosphere.
The ionosphere is the outermost layer of the Earth's atmosphere. It is part of an electromagnetic field that keeps out harmful solar and cosmic radiation. One visible effect of the sun's rays hitting the ionosphere is the aurora borealis, known as the northern lights. The ionosphere also plays a vital role in worldwide radio communication.
The first transmission of radio waves across the ocean were quite a surprise when it was first done. People thought there'd be no chance to transmit the signals across the ocean by wireless. And in fact, what the ionosphere does is act like a mirror. And so you transmit a signal and it bounces off the ionosphere and then it bounces off the Earth.
When HARP is fully operational, it will transmit extremely powerful blasts of high-frequency radio waves directly up into the atmosphere, superheating the electrons that make up the ionosphere. This will cause them to disperse, effectively punching a hole in the ionosphere.
But after you turn the instrument off, this thing kind of moves around and it gets replenished. And within a few minutes, it's back to where you can't even detect that there's a hole anymore.
The Air Force says that manipulating the ionosphere and studying the effect will allow them to improve the efficiency of communications, navigation, and surveillance systems. But researchers outside the military see HAARP as a high-tech weapon with global implications.
The way I see HAARP as it is right now, it is a premier, top-notch, high-energy radio physics experiment, and it has definite military applications.
Journalist Mark Farmer lives in Alaska and has written about the potential impact of HAARP for both Jane's Defense Weekly and Popular Science magazine. He believes that HAARP will be used to take giant X-rays of Earth.
Earth-penetrating tomography is a technique using extremely low-frequency radio waves. Today in geophysical probing, scientists will use explosives or a machine that thumps the ground to produce these waves, but HAARP will stimulate the auroral electrojet to make an antenna thousands of miles long that will emit these ELF waves.
Farmer's research indicates that the extremely low-frequency waves would be capable of penetrating several kilometers into the Earth, ferreting out nuclear storage facilities and other underground military installations.
This is producing surveillance systems able to detect stealthy cruise missiles and aircraft. These are systems that will enable us to communicate at higher data rates and at greater distances with our ballistic missile submarines.
While the Air Force insists HAARP is not an offensive weapon and is necessary for continuing national security, Alaska native Nick Begich proposes a different scenario in this new book.
The things that we found in other Air Force documents, one in particular was a document put together in '82. The document was called Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, with a foreword by none other than Newt Gingrich. In one section spoke about using radio frequency radiation transmitters for disrupting human thinking, for basically debilitating troops invisibly by being able to bombard them with radio frequency that was tuned to just the right frequency, in just the right waveform, so as to totally disrupt their mental process and basically debilitate those troops.
Because of HAARP's potential to disrupt the Earth's magnetic field, many observers are concerned that it will damage the biomagnetic sensors that migratory animals like salmon and birds depend upon.
Anything that HAARP can do to the magnetic field is orders of magnitude smaller than the natural variations of the Earth's field. So I would have to say, no, there's nothing we can do to affect the salmon.
But what generates the most concern by far is HAARP's ability to tamper with and punch holes in the ionosphere.
The thing that one of the Air Force documents points out is that they want to use this heater to create enough energy in the ionosphere to get a runaway effect up to the next stabilizing level, whatever that might be.
It's precisely whatever that might be that worries Dr. Patrick Flanagan, a physicist who believes the ionosphere is extremely fragile.
The ionosphere is a chaotic system that is on the edge of instability. So the trigger point for HAARP would be that energy and that frequency which throws the ionosphere into chaos. In other words, it would be that point which throws it over the edge.
For example, it is believed that a hole in the Earth's ozone layer has caused an increase in infrared radiation, contributing to the melting of the polar ice caps and forcing New Zealand children to wear protective clothing to school. Flanagan and others believe the potential danger from a hole in the ionosphere is much greater.
It could create a change in the ionospheric shield that protects us from cosmic radiation. We're worried about the ozone layer. The ozone layer is nothing compared to what HAARP could do. You know, we're worried about ultraviolet light. That's just a very harmless ray compared to some of those energy streams or particles that are coming from outer space that are being deflected by this natural shield around the Earth. And this is what HAARP wants to play with.
Critics worry that HAARP has been placed in the hands of too few, and that international debate is necessary to fully explore all the potential dangers that this project may soon unleash, a proposal in which the Air Force has shown little interest to date.
Once we open this box, and it is a veritable Pandora's box, we're not going to be able to close it. And of course, once you acquire a technology, you want bigger and better aspects of it. And then we come into the questions of whether or not if we go big, if we go better, if we're going to cause damage to our planet.
Okay, my sister.
Yeah.
So, are they gonna go big or they going home?
Who? What, HARP?
Yeah, with this whole geoengineering and having the ability to communicate from up
You
in
know,
space and damaging the stratosphere, but blaming cows for global warming.
cows and gardens for glory. I'm telling you, know, and that's the thing too. I think even when you were showing the one or the video where they were talking about, you know, putting geoengineering on the table and all the possible effects and all of that, you know, they, you know, it's just obvious that they just threw caution to the wind and just decided to go ahead and pull the trigger. You know what I mean? So my thing is, I think they're going home. I think, but the problem is, I don't want to go with them. You know what I mean? Like,
You're absolutely right, sister.
you know, it's what they're messing with is serious. You know, you're playing with God. Like, you're really playing with God. And I really, it's alarming. And the only thing I really take comfort in is, despite the fact that they're still trying to push, it's almost like fact check is a form of gaslighting now. You know, the only thing that we can really take comfort in is the fact that other people really are seeing this, are paying attention. You know what I mean? And seeing that, honestly, I really think that they, you know, have these videos and this propaganda out about it to kind of get ahead of the situation, because they see that so many people are paying attention now. You know what I mean? So now they're like, well, you know, we're just starting, and what would the effects be? They, you know, a lot of the stuff that I've seen is like they know what some of the effects are. You know, they did some studies about it, and they know that it can affect our precipitation. They know that if they stop spraying after starting, it could heat the planet up even worse than what this invisible climate change that they've made up to do all of this mess with. You know,
like going down that rabbit hole. You can't come back once you go down. It's like a slippery slope.
Right, Pandora's box, you know.
That's right.
And they've really opened it, you know, because you know, it's upon us. Like, they're doing it, you know. And you know, the thing with HARP and stuff, I'm so glad that you showed that video, because I was having a hard time like articulating what exactly HARP is. But that's just it. When you said that, I was thinking about those little antenna towers that you've seen, and I really feel like now that's been upgraded to 5G. You know, like I said, I feel like that's the reason why we all needed to stay inside, you know, for a while. I'm not saying that, you know, people didn't really get sick because they aim to make us sick, you know, but I feel like a lot of it was so they could get some of this stuff in place, spray aggressively, and, you know, kind of test the waters and stuff, because even during the pandemic and stuff, people were knowing and seeing this in the air. You know what I mean? So
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But, you know, despite what they're saying that the government is not actively doing this right now, I've always been of the mindset that if the government is going to introduce it to the public, they're probably already doing it. They just want to test the waters to see how the public is going to react to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's just like this thing with the COVID-19, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
How they engineered it, made it, had
Yep.
us in 2016.
Yep.
Introduced it to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Saw their reactions.
Yep.
Even mandated that people take it.
Right.
Mandated that you wear a mask.
Right.
Rule 6, and we all complied.
And everybody complied. We all did what we were supposed to do.
Right. So now they know for next time. So all these tests that they're running. And so did they run tests while we were all inside? In a race to fulfill a mandate. See, people don't know that this is part of a mandate that's part of Agenda 2030. Like, all nation states have to do this. They signed off on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Congress had a mandate, congressionally mandated report on solar radiation modification.
Right.
So if you guys if they were mandated to give a report on this,
right.
It says here the report cautions that any potential comprehensive research program must encompass the societal as well as the scientific dimensions of solar radiation modification and highlight several key priority areas for further solar radiation modification research, including climate environmental impacts, assessing potential societal outcomes and ecological consequences, and examining how research might be done in a cooperation among international partners. So you have to have something to come to the table with. So are we now being test dummies? Like, we share the same atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a part of their clinical trials, their research. They're trying this out on us. And for such people such as myself who are, small farm, trying to be a small farmer, I don't know what the effects of what they're spraying is going to do to the crops and to the soil. Right. So is that part of the agenda as well? Because part of it is part of that depopulation or population control, rather.
Yep.
So
Yep.
If you block the sun, we all went to school, right? Let's be real. We all went to school. We learned about photosynthesis. How important is the sun in that process?
It's vital. It's the primary component. You know what I mean?
So if you're blocking the sun,
yes,
then we as humans need food to sustain ourselves. And most of our food comes from in the ground, vegetables, fruits.
Yep.
Those things that are medically needed for us to be healthy. Right?
I follow. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then you can very well create a famine situation.
Man-made famine. Yep.
Right? You could very well starve a whole group of people in any particular location because, as y'all seen in that previous video, that they could direct it. It's all of this is local, like locally. It's not government. It's local municipalities that are saying, spray over here because they need some water. That's who's doing it.
Yes.
Because the government has given them permission through what? I'm going to show you right here. Hold up.
Oh my goodness.
How did they get the permission? Oh my goodness. Where is it?
Great research.
Oh. Right here. See this? NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration.
Mm-hmm.
The weather modification. Oh, I got it. Let me pull it up a little closer so y'all can see this. Where's the zoom in thing here? Here. All right. Here we go. The Weather Modification Reporting Act, 1972, requires that all persons that conduct non-federal weather modification activities within the United States or its territory report such activities to the U.S. Secretary of Commerce at least 10 days prior to and after undertaking the activities. Okay, here we go. Weather modification activities are defined as any activities performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in the competition behavior or the dynamics of the atmosphere. The following, when conducted as weather modification activities, shall be reported: seeding or dispersing of any substance into clouds or fog to alter drop size distribution, produce ice crystals, or coagulation of droplets after the development of hail or lightning, or influence in any way the natural development cycle of clouds of their environment.
Mm-hmm.
Modifying the solar radiation exchange of the earth or clouds through the release of gases, dust, liquids, or aerosols into the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Modifying the characteristics of land, water. Okay, so y'all get the point, right? Oh, here, look at this, sister. Applying shock waves, sonic energy sources, or other explosives of or acoustic sources to the atmosphere. What would that be? That would be hard.
Hard.
Okay, using aircraft, propeller downwash, jet wash, or other sources, artificial wind generation. Can we say jets that spraying chemtrails?
Not contrails, chemtrails.
I'm just saying, like,
real.
Come on, like right in front of your face. So are you stupid or
exactly? They are. That's it, and that is, I think, the most infuriating thing. They are literally they're making pieces like that where you've got like these guys talking about our wonderful scientists while they put these articles and all of these agendas right here in our faces. You know what I mean? If you look at it and you really start evaluating and looking what they're doing, and then you start realizing that they've done the research, they've got it on their websites, they're talking about all this stuff, and then they're like, no, just contrails, you know.
Just contrails. No, nothing here, no there.
Nothing left to see. Keep it moving. Yeah.
Now watch this. Cool us or kill us. Did geoengineering already cause a massive famine?
Perfect. Yes.
What are we talking about here? All this information is already out there, and they're talking about, oh, it's not happening, but we're thinking about it.
A growing number of voices have been calling for geoengineering by intentionally injecting aerosols into the atmosphere. Now, I know this topic is incredibly controversial, even just to discuss, but the fact is, the cat's already out of the bag, so I believe we have to talk about it. Luke Eisman founded Make Sunsets. Now, this is a small startup that deploys reflective clouds into the atmosphere by releasing biodegradable balloons filled with sulfur dioxide.
I get the balloon, I buy a tank of helium, and I light some sulfur on fire. Sulfur burnt in the presence of air equals sulfur dioxide. So I get a tiny, tiny amount of sulfur dioxide into the balloon, and then I add a bunch of helium and zip tie the balloon shut and let it go. Yeah, we're not crazy early tech startup style growth yet, but we're selling a material amount and we're deploying.
So the idea of solar geoengineering as a future solution to the climate crisis is gaining traction, and it's largely focusing on something that we all agree on, which is that we need to urgently address the climate crisis.
But that's about where the agreement ends.
It's absolutely dangerous to contemplate solar geoengineering now, even as a future option.
It's important just to halt the promise of this technology, because I don't think it can end well, right? Like it's dangerous in and of itself.
It's an experiment, life experiment with 8 billion people, and I believe that we should not go down this road.
Yeah. Those are some pretty strong words there. So what's got all these scientists so concerned?
We don't want to make an already very, very complex challenge of climate change even worse by having a sort of multi-generational intervention into the Earth system in this manner. Injecting sulfate aerosols into the stratosphere where we don't know what the impacts will be. We know there'll be planetary scale impacts. There might be impacts on global temperatures, but that's not the only aspect of climate change, right? There'll be all kinds of unknowable distributional impacts on precipitation patterns, etc.
And we actually have a direct example of this, and it's a really big deal. Remember that devastating drought in the 80s we mentioned in the beginning?
The Sahel, the entire region south of the Sahara Desert, from Senegal to Ethiopia, was experiencing drought at the same time. It was really a huge scale of humanitarian suffering. And in the decades since, we've really understood that a lot of it came from the fact that the ocean temperature was colder in the north compared to the south. And that moves the rain band that is usually close to the equator. That rain band gets shifted toward the south, and so that causes drought. And there's very strong evidence that some of it was due to the fact that pollution in America, pollution in Europe caused a lot of reflective aerosols, haze basically, to linger over the North Atlantic, creating this gradient in surface temperature.
Now, to me, the lesson is not that releasing aerosols into the atmosphere could cause the exact same drought all over again. Is that we just don't know what will happen.
There's a lot that we don't understand, And it's very possible that putting sulfate in the stratosphere would change the patterns of rainfall in a way that we cannot anticipate.
And I think uncertainty is one of the biggest takeaways here. Not only are there profound uncertainties around how geoengineering might adversely affect weather patterns like in the 1980s, this technology also poses a political risk.
Rainfall variability is very strong in the tropics. So if somebody were to start this experiment, so it could very well be that there's a drought following the injection of particles in the stratosphere, and it would be interpreted as a consequence of that intervention.
And if one country is seen as causing a drought that destabilizes or even causes famine in another, tensions could certainly spin out of control. So on one hand, we have all of the possible repercussions from geoengineering: war, impacts on human health, adverse effects on our climate system, which could result in humanitarian crises, and some even say a get-out-of-jail-free card for the fossil fuel industry. On the other hand, an argument that this technology might be our salvation in a world where past climate forecasts have actually underestimated the impacts. So, what do you think? Are you for it? Are you against it? Or to you, is it not that black and white?
Okay, sister.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Are you for or are you against it?
You know where I'm at. I'm definitely against it.
Yes, ma'am. Look, listen, sister. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. These people, that's just like what they did with the so-called cure, right?
Yep.
Right. Researched it.
Yeah, we researched it and we just don't know what is going to happen, but take it anyway.
Yes. I see Reese in our chat she said, I trust nothing they say. And Reese, I agree.
Yes.
You can't
yes,
trust
ma'am.
anything that they say because they like to do foolishness, and it is causing many people, not just you, my sister,
I know,
to have health conditions, right?
Exactly.
Because
exactly.
unlike most people, we actually need sunlight.
Yes.
You don't we need sunlight. You don't need it in an excessive amount, of course, because you don't want to run the risk of getting melanoma cancer, right?
Right.
But there are several people that I've spoken with recently that have gone to the doctors, so-called doctors, right? And they come back saying that they are vitamin D deficient. Okay. And they're given a subscription for a supplement, and it's vitamin D3. So in some cases, you may be getting too much vitamin D, which may cause health problems. Right? If you're doing supplements, the natural way for me, right? So I found out that it's not the sun that actually gives you vitamin D. You already have something in you. It's the sun that activates those genes or neutrons or whatever it is in you that creates the vitamin D in your body, that activates it. So you need to go out to the sun to activate that vitamin D so that you won't be vitamin D deficient. So here you see evidence of health benefits for sun exposure. And I want you all to see about they said here, of all deaths in Europe could be in the US and in Europe could be attributed to serum concentration was inversely associated with the death for cardiovascular disease, cancer, and other causes. The authors noted that Current scientific evidence does not support any benefit of vitamin D supplementation against these diseases. Right? So in our community, cardiovascular is like one of the number one causes of death. Cardiovascular disease. It's like the number one causes of death. But sunlight reduces your risk of cardiovascular disease. So while they're trying to hide the sun, they're actually causing us to become ill.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You know what? Yes, that is so important. You know, I take it personally when they say trying to reduce their carbon footprint, because carbon is the essence of melanin. So what are you really talking about? Because I don't think that there is really such a thing as global warming. I think it's the emergency that they made to really start this mess. So, and a lot of it deeply, deeply affects us melanated beings, you know. And that is the thing too, is they know that, like you were just saying, Achoti, that's just so on point. They know that the primary way that we get vitamin D is the sun. That is the main source. You know, we can supplement it. You know, there's very few things like nuts and types of fishes that really supplement our vitamin D. But really it is the sun, you know. And that was another thing that I did want to touch on too, is that it's really, really important, not only to our animals or plants and everything, but really to us, you know. So like I said, I take it personally when they talk about reducing a carbon footprint. I feel like it's an attack on us.
That's right. That's right. You know, here it says that studies in healthy humans show that 20 JCM to the second power UVA exposure, 30 minutes of midday Mediterranean sun, and cybothermal in light skin.
Right. All these
in light skin, right? In light skin, right? In light skin relaxes audio resistance in association with no release. Exposure to the body to UVA lowered blood pressure independently of temperature in serum, right?
Right.
This effect was associated with increased plasma concentrations of nitrate, a relatively stable oxidation product of NO that's getting off from the sun, in lower levels of nitrate. You know what I'm saying? Like this is why you need it. Like most no-release activity was found in upper epidermis. These findings are important because epidermis is skin, okay?
Right.
Because hypertension is the leading cause of non-communicable diseases despite current pharmacotherapy.
Right.
See? So if we get the proper sun dosage, at least 30 minutes a day, then we should be reducing our cardiovascular mortality rate.
Right.
But they want to block the sun. Why do they want to block the sun? Here it is. I'm going to show you why.
I'll tell you right now, huh?
I'm going to show you right now. Wait, hold up. Here it is. Evidence for harms to health: sun exposure, skin cancer, melanoma. I'm not gonna laugh because we people of melanin need to be careful not to get taking too much sun.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You can't get melanoma from too much sun.
Right.
But for these group of people, for the white people, Europeans, sun is not a good thing for them. Like they just don't do well. Okay. They suffer from melanoma. So could that be why they're talking about climate change and saving the planet and blocking the sun so they can live?
You know, and that's the thing, Achoti. Like that was one of the main things that I wonder too. I was like, so this is, you know, like I said, I take it personally when they say carbon free footprint and stuff. But the thing is too is, to what end are you guys willing to go to destroy us? I mean, you know, you guys still have to be on this planet. You still got to eat and do all kinds of things. And honestly, the sun benefits them too. You know what I mean? Even though it's rough on them, it still benefits them too.
They have to take it in moderation, right?
Right, in moderate, exactly. But at the same time, it's our most beloved star. It we need it for life. And the funny thing is if they think that they can survive down here without the sun, they've lost it. You know what I mean? If we don't have the sun, we don't have a lot of things. You know what I mean? And it's like you were saying, it affects our food source. They got to eat too. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much that goes into that. But yes, I too thought about that too. It's like, are you guys really, that hateful of the sun and what it does to you to really, to really do this, but to do it to this end, I mean, it's extremely impactful, and I mean, it's going to impact them too, so yeah.
I don't know if they're thinking about these things, but apparently your government is thinking about these things for you. That is why they're now manufacturing food such as chicken and cabbage and things of that nature. So you won't have to worry about getting things organic anymore.
Oh, you don't have to.
We'll
make your food for you.
We'll have this artificial food for you, and it's going to be similar in taste, but have absolutely no nutritional value.
Exactly.
So what happens when the body does not get the right nutrition?
Right.
You die.
Exactly. And they just wow, and it's like you were saying, a lot of it has to do with really trying to just get the food supply. It's all about that depopulation and then that control, which is crazy. It's like you guys are destroying everything. So yeah.
So they're using all this new technology. HAARP.
Yep.
HAARP helps. I don't know if they're using the 5G system. I don't know. I didn't connect those dots, right? But I do know that HAARP is helping those chemtrails when they're coming out of the back of those planes to spread out.
Right.
When their clouds already existing, the chemtrails just intensifies the existing clouds. But when there are no clouds, they make the clouds by sending those radio frequencies into those clouds to make them pop up. Right. So they call cloud brightening and all of that. They're doing all of these things to modify the weather to try to slow down global warming. Right. Y'all just saw way back in 1995, they were already punching a hole through the atmosphere. So it's no doubt that the sun can go straight through the hole. Did they clog the hole?
Right.
Did they clog the hole? Does the hole still exist? Because they tell us that there's a great big old hole in the ozone layer. Well, I guess y'all did it. So that's just like them. They caused the problem and then they give y'all the solution.
That was the thing with the ozone layer too, or if that was just a cover story to just cover what they were doing and whatnot, because where it seemed like when I was younger, there was a lot of talk about the ozone, things that were hairspray was an ozone problem. And now, we've got all of this, there's not a lot of talk about the ozone anymore. So it just, honestly, it's like, what is just put out there to just cause mass confusion and what is actually really the truth. And a lot of the times I think they just putting stuff out there to just cause mass distractions and stuff while they do all of the other stuff that they do. So for me, the connection with the 5G towers was just seeing the clouds move and just making are the 5G towers, possibly have anything to do with this? And some of the research that I saw, so some folks recorded birds and stuff actually attacking the 5G towers, which is just something that, I took as maybe the frequencies are coming from that. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that that was just my own conclusions that I was drawing, that maybe they may play a part in it. So, but what I know the most about, or what I've seen the most about, are those weird little T towers that you were showing in your stuff, Achoti. So I just wanted to be clear about that too, about what I was saying about that. Sorry.
Yeah, but now that you mentioned it, sister, you mentioned before, during the COVID and the shutdown or whatever, where everybody had to stay inside. There were several reports coming out that birds were just falling from the sky. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And how about all of the fish that was just washing up on shore dead?
Yeah, right,
around
right.
the world. So
Right.
if they ramped up HARP and they ramped up 5G at the same time,
yeah,
that would
yeah.
definitely cause a disturbance in the atmosphere, and with all those waves going like
Yeah.
birds are going crazy, like what the hell's going on here?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So definitely, sister, that's something to consider. So let's throw in, we got HARP, we got chemtrails, which they're calling SRM, solar radiation
Model. Wait, hold on, Cody. What happened to stratospheric? Was it aerosol injections? Have you seen that we're rocking around too? Like I said, I feel like this is going into
that's chemtrails. That's exactly what the chemtrails is.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying about that is that's what I'm saying. It seems like they're throwing all of these different kind of terms out there almost, and that's what I'm saying. It kind of almost goes into the like, well, you know, are you guys trying to just send people in different directions for misinformation and confusion? So
exactly, yes. That's what they did with ISIL versus ISIS.
Right.
It's the same CIA created organization.
Right.
So exactly. So whether you say SRM or you say geoengineering,
yes,
you want to say climate control, whatever it is, it's still strato. What did you say? Strato.
Jacking up the environment. Whatever you want to call it, man.
Whatever you want to call it, right? So bottom line is, folks, and thank y'all for tuning in. This is News, Facts, and Comments Sunday wrap session. We're talking about chemtrails versus contrails. This is the American Hindu agenda. They want you to believe that they're not doing it, but we just showed y'all evidence that they are doing it now and have been doing it for some time. And so, like my sister just said, don't get confused with all these technical terms or not so technical terms that they throw out at you to confuse you. Just know that whatever they decide to do to alter this God-given earth in an attempt to play God is going to cause an adverse reaction upon you, your family, for generations to come. You know, we may never see the full effect of what they're doing now because we may be dead and gone, but we have loved ones, little short leggers running around that we have to consider. And so I don't think that the Most High himself would have gave mankind a mandate to go be fruitful and multiply, or give you the ability to do so if you don't believe in the whole Bible story, but the ability to do so, to multiply and create human beings on this earth and not have enough space for them, not have enough resources for them, when that was the first commandment of man. So with that being said, my sister, I want you to have the last word. I do, unless there's something else that we forgot to mention.
No, Cody, you know what? Like, no, just let me just say from the bottom of my heart and my soul, I give you thanks. I really appreciate you letting me come onto your platform and letting me be heard. You know, I really just wanted to be able to speak about this because it is important. It affects our health. And like you said, it affects our children. They got to inherit this earth, you know, and a lot of our young babies already, like, have already been exposed to so much that, you know, I never saw even in the 80s, you know what I mean, growing up. So it's really important. I just want to say to people, like, I hope that this information helps in some way. Please just take it and just do your own research, look into it. Talk to your families, talk to your friends, you know, make sure that they're doing okay. Do things to take care of your health. Please eat healthy. You know, taking care of yourself, your skin, your hair, your body, and all of those things. And, you know, putting the right things in you. That's really important to combating a lot of this. That's what I learned with my health issues, is that, you know, I really had to get real serious about my health, you know, so that I can live through this. This is serious, you know. So, you know, I love and appreciate everybody that was listening to this. Achoti, again, thank you for listening and hearing me and going through the research and really presenting this, so that, you know, we could really like show that this is really happening. And yeah, that's what I have to say. Gratitude. Thank you.
No, thank you, my sister. And before you leave, I want to share just one last video with you and something for you to be inspired for, you know, I know it seemed like we presented all information that's like just doom and gloom, but I
It's
found
not, man. I want to say this too. I think that I think when the kids, they're declining. When a bully decides that they got to go home, they break all their toys and they try to do everything. Things are in the hands of the Most High. You can't play with God's grand design. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. I wanted to share this so that we as melanated people know. But don't make no mistake about it. I do not believe all of their crazy machinations and all of their dumb stuff is going to come to fruition. So know that.
Yes, sister. Yes, sister. Yes. So give me 3 minutes of your time and let's enjoy this one together.
We are used to hearing that too much sunshine is harmful to our skin. But did you know that the right balance has lots of benefits too? Here are some of them. Number 1. Helps to improve your sleep quality. Seeing the sun regularly each day helps keep your internal clock synced. We naturally feel more awake and energetic during daylight hours, and when it's dark outside, our internal clock tells us it's time for bed. Your body slows down melatonin production, the sleep-inducing hormone, in the morning to wake you up, and increases output at night as the sun sets. Number 2. Promotes weight loss. Getting outside for 30 minutes, sometime between 8 a.m. and noon, has been linked to weight loss. There seems to be a connection between early morning sunlight and weight loss according to studies. Number 3. Reduces stress. Melatonin helps to lessen stress reactivity, and being outside allows your body to naturally regulate melatonin, which can help you relax. Additionally, because you're often doing something active when you're outside, that extra exercise also helps to lower stress. Number 4. Increases vitamin D production. Sunlight is the primary way people get vitamin D, and there is a common misconception that sunlight actually contains vitamin D. In fact, UV rays in sunlight stimulate the skin to produce the substance. Sunlight serves a crucial role in the body's production of vitamin D, which has many health benefits. Number 5. Helps to maintain strong bones. Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium and phosphate from our diets, which are necessary for healthy bones, teeth, and muscles. Not getting enough vitamin D can be bad for bone health. Your bones can become soft or weak without this essential nutrient, and long-term deficiency can even contribute to osteoporosis. Number 6. Strengthens your immune system. Vitamin D is also important for your immune system, and regular sun exposure can assist to enhance it. A healthy immune system can help reduce the risk of illness, some cancers, infections, and mortality after surgery. Number 7. Helps to improve your overall mood. We can feel depressed and tired when the weather is gloomy and dark. We are happy and more energetic when the weather is bright and sunny. This mood change isn't only in our imagination. When light enters the eye, it stimulates neurons in the brain that influences mood, and boosts serotonin, the so-called feel-good hormone that's linked to mood. So, in conclusion, exposure to sunlight is beneficial for everyone. For many people, 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure per day is enough. However, the length of time will vary widely due to factors like elevation, skin color, and how close you are to the equator. Staying mindful of your sun exposure is wise so you don't get sunburn. If you are going to be out in the sun for more than 30 minutes, it's recommended to wear a sunscreen, with SPF of at least 30, and to reapply every 2 hours.
So again, my sister, I say thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I pray that you got some tips from that little last video. I thought that was awe-inspiring, considering the fact that we sometimes don't get sun because they're blocking it.
Yeah. You know what? Don't take it for granted, man. When it comes back out, get in it.
That's right. That's right, my sister. So I will continue to monitor this situation, and you continue to monitor the skies.
Yeah.
No, you're going to be our official NFNC sky watcher, and let us know what they're doing out there, so we can say if they're telling us something different, you can come out here and say, "Nah."
Fact check.
fact check, because obviously they're not fact checking, right? So
Right.
once again, my sister, I say thank you so much, and it was a blessing meeting you and speaking with you. And we're gonna have to figure out some kind of way, another topic to get back on. We're gonna talk offline.
Hey, we'll talk about it. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, so much. Blessings, my sister.
Blessings. Bye.
Shalom. Well, my family, there you have it. That was a very interesting conversation with our sister. We're glad that she's now doing better, feeling better. We will never know if it's true. We will never know if her condition is a result of what they're spraying in the sky. So I'm exhausted. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I saw you all in the chat. Shouts out to Gay Beach 2, Revolutionary 2, Reese, Willa Williams. I see y'all in the chat. Thank you so much. Timothy Hudson, Avengers, The Ancestors. Thank you all for watching News, Facts, and Comments. This has been News, Facts, and Comments Sunday wrap session, talking about chemtrails versus contrails. Is that America's big, great agenda? And why are they blocking the sun? Until next time, my friends, I pray that you learned something. Take care of yourselves and each other. And that's a wrap.
One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three, just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run this town. One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three, just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are now tuned in to the greatest. The greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three, just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run this town. One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three, just to make sure you ready.